94.3 The Dude is very grateful to our men and women in uniform. We're proud to recognize local members of our military by turning the spotlight on them right now in our Soldier Salute.
I'm your host, Sergeant First Class Retired Don Sorensen, and on today's Soldier Salute, we're speaking with Specialist Austin Rykbost, South Carolina Army National Guard, Alpha Company, 1st of the 111th. Austin, tell me about yourself.
Well, my name is Austin Rykbost. I grew up in Northeast Columbia in Lugoff and graduated Spring Valley a couple years ago in Columbia, South Carolina. And I'm a young married man, just got back from Afghanistan. Actually bought a house while I was in Afghanistan. And now I was full-time in the National Guard before leaving for Afghanistan. And since coming back, I'm trying to step back a little bit, and I've started my own business, Completed Visions, doing total home renovation. Something that I really enjoy stepping back is more of a supervisor instead of the person working in the field. So growing up, I was always around members of the military due to my dad, who is a long-term recruiter for the South Carolina Army National Guard. And that's kind of what got my career started. I was always around members of the military and saw that it was taking care of them, it was supporting them, and so my dad was actually my recruiter to enlist when I was 17.
Austin, I kind of watched you grow up, man. Your dad and I were pretty good friends, and I remember seeing you at a lot of the recruiting retention conventions, and your dad recruited you. That's kind of cool. Do you think you would have joined the military otherwise?
You know, Don, honestly, I'm not sure. I was around it a lot, so I was aware of kind of what it was like in the atmosphere, and I was exposed to it, but he actually never pushed it on me. When I was in high school, I decided that I wanted to go to USC, and so I was going to use that as my method of getting it paid for. And then once I got in, I decided that I wanted to take a different route, and I wanted to go full-time, and I just liked the military so much, I wanted to always do it. And it definitely has been a great experience, taught me a lot, made me grow up very fast.
Yeah, I remember your dad always had stories about you, man. Skateboarding, some of the cool things that you were doing. We thought you were going to be the next Tony Hawk, and now here you are in the military.
Yeah, I actually, that was the goal when I was younger. I rode for a skate shop. I did a lot of contests, and I enjoyed it. Got some broken bones from it, some good memories, but it just wasn't a path, that was calling to me. The military was what really struck me and wanted me to stay in, and, I watched my dad have a lot of cool trips to the beach and stuff like that the military provided and funded, and so I thought it was a good route to go.
Austin, there's a lot of soldiers that spend almost an entire career without deploying, but within a matter of just a year or so, you graduate high school and do all your training, and then you end up in Afghanistan. What was that experience like for you?
It was definitely a very different experience. It was not at all what I expected. I got to see a lot of different culture, and I mean, even little things like you realize that the Americans eat so much different. We eat a lot of steak, potatoes, chicken, whereas all the other nationals, they eat a lot of fruit, they eat rice, a lot just healthier in general. And little things like you realize that due to the mission you're doing over there, we were providing overwatch, supporting the ground troops and taking care of, bad guys that were doing bad things. And so all the Afghans and the locals, they absolutely love us. They treat us very good. They hold doors open for us. They say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. Just total respect, and they appreciate us being there and helping them out.
Now, you, although you're with Alpha Company, 1st of the 111th, you didn't deploy with them, did you?
No, sir. I actually deployed with Delta Company 151. It's the attack battalion for the Apaches, and they were deploying with 3rd ID, and 3rd ID was bringing the Blackhawks, which is what I do. So they wanted some more experienced maintenance personnel to help them out. So I volunteered and went out there, and I was actually working solely with the active duty 3rd ID guys in our section. We just reported up to 151.
Austin, you're kind of a newlywed, even though you've been married for almost a year now. You didn't get the typical honeymoon that a lot of new couples have, did you?
No, Don, I sure didn't. I got married September 21st, and then I was in Afghanistan in the end of October. So it's definitely been a trying experience. It definitely boosted our confidence coming back, knowing that we made it through it, even though there were difficult times. Little things like we're new homeowners, and so something would break in the house, and for example, the hot water heater was not working. So me trying to get that handled from Afghanistan has proved to be difficult. Buying all new appliances is a little bit of an older home, needs some work, so it's hard to kind of organize some of that from Afghanistan. But I tell you, the game changer that made the big difference was having FaceTime. We were able to get on Wi-Fi over there, so FaceTime really helped and made it not so bad, but it was very difficult sometimes.
Yeah, my wife and I, we weren't married yet, but we were engaged back in 1990, and I got deployed over to Japan. Not really what the military today considers a deployment, but to young Don Sorensen, it was definitely a deployment. And we didn't have things like FaceTime. It was writing letters back and forth. Are handwritten letters still a thing?
Really, no. The only thing that really comes through the mail now is packages. You can send care packages to your soldiers. Little things like most of us actually provided for us, which is pretty nice. They have toothpaste, hygiene stuff, lotion, basically everything you need. But it is nice sometimes to have a bag of chips mailed to you or a 2-liter of soda. That'll the little things that make your day better over there.
Austin, it's been a busy year for you, young man. You got married, got deployed, bought a house. And a lot of people will be like, wait, don't you mean the other way around? You got married, you bought a house, and then you deployed? But that didn't happen for you, did it?
No, that was the goal. We wanted to have the house first, but we actually didn't close until December, and I deployed at the end of October. So it was a trying process due to the age of the home and some of the issues with it. We couldn't get any type of home loan except conventional. So that was kind of a stress, coming up with the money for the down payment. And we had previously lived down near Columbia off Garnish Ferry Road, kind of residential area. And we wanted to get out of it, wanted to get back in the country. So got a nice house on 3.5 acres of land. The previous homeowner actually passed away, and so the home was vacant for 5 or 6 years. So that made it a lot more difficult too. We didn't know the extent of all the problems. We wound up having to get the AC fixed. Little things, the hot water heater didn't work. It had no appliances. All the windows, they don't seal up good. The power bill's high. Just one thing after the other, and it made it a lot more stressful with me not being here to deal with it. It was solely on my wife. So she had a lot on her plate that she definitely stepped up and took care of and did what I couldn't do. So that's been very helpful for me.
Austin, you're also starting your own business, man. Now, I tell you what, that is normally something I would consider to be terrifying. But let's see, you got married, you got deployed, you bought a house. Does anything scare you anymore?
Well, I don't know, Don. Sometimes it gets stressful. You got to deal with employees and issues with customers. But so far, we're doing great. We're doing a very large job rebuilding the entire upstairs of a home that burned down, a complete custom log cabin home. We do total property rehabilitation services, licensed and insured. Me and my partner, David, we actually started it while I was deployed. I can't take too much credit because he did all the footwork, but I put up my half of the initial startup money. He put up his half, and then I came back to basically the business rolling, and we've already had a lot of jobs. We've already got some investors that are looking at getting with us to do new builds and stuff like that, and eventually, hopefully, going into owning some property rentals. So we're trying to expand. We've got a couple guys who work for us now. We're always trying to add to that, grow large. That's the goal. But then the first year of business so far, we've been doing great. So hopefully we can keep on keeping on and make it into something awesome.
Austin, it seems like my generation gives your generation a pretty hard time. There's not a lot of respect, it seems, for millennials. But man, I tell you, you've got so much going on that I think any generation listening to this show could learn something from you. What advice do you have for our listeners?
Well, one thing that I think is one of the issues with the newer generations is everyone's stuck with their nose in their phone. And, the social media, it can be good if you use it properly. You can market yourself. You can make money off of it. You can grow your business. But if you're wasting your time on it, it can also be detrimental and just, a waste of your time, which is the most valuable thing you have. I recommend one of the biggest things for me that really helped me get my life on track was read up on the law of attraction and listen to some videotapes from some man called Earl Nightingale that speaks about, motivational stuff and how you can really grow yourself. Really you become what you think about. So if you think about the right things and you have a proper goal and the proper mindset, there's really nothing that you can't do. And if you look up those tapes, you read into the law of attraction, it'll change your world.
Thanks for joining us in our Soldier Salute, presented by Little Pigs Barbecue. Serving Columbia since 1963 with that bodacious buffet. By Lexington Guns and Shooting Range. Veteran owned and operated. By Carolina Honda Powerhouse. Motorcycles, ATVs, and side-by-sides with discounts for all military personnel. And Dominion Energy. We depend on